Hello, hello. This is Carlos Fernando Ocon reporting in. You don't have to be good to start, but you got to start to be great. And my intention for this video is to get better with my communication public speaking skills and refine the ways how I express myself. Because the only way you're going to get better at anything in life is to start from the basics. The best does the basic better. And right now, the only way to get better on anything in life is to just simply start. Forget about perfection. Complexity is the enemy of execution. Done is better than perfect. And in my case, this is the ultimate form of impro improv. I can't even say the word right now. Improvising 20-minute videos on speaking whatever's in my heart and my mind. And I just want to see where it goes. And for me, personally speaking for myself, I'm not here to gain an audience or just I, I I'm just here to just practice my craft. And this is my way to challenge myself to do this once a week and see where the results is going to be within a year. Because I can only imagine how much better I'm going to be able to express myself, refine it, and chisel the statue bit by bit to give myself the aesthetic of verbal dexterity and finding ways to just convey my message more accurately and relatively perfectly, because I value communication and writing and expression. And this is definitely my way to improve myself on how to get there. And one thing that I do know is that in my experience, I used to do 30 seconds to 2 minutes improv speeches. And that's a great way to just say things off the cuff and gain mental sharpness. And there's a certain intelligence on being quick witted, on finding ways that's relatable, or even cherry picking certain words and topic that's sort of relatable to the things that you hear from other people. And another good way to get better on speaking is just honestly socializing with people, because the biggest part of communication is actually nonverbal. People can, let's just say, read your mind by the way how you express yourself. You give away yourself by the nonverbal, because what you say and how you say things, especially your cadence and how your tonality, gives way more than the words themselves. So remember, remember, the biggest part of communication is nonverbal, your tonality, and what you say. And I feel that is the good order of ways to be aware of. And also, another big part of communication is listening. They say it's more important to listen and be heard than you expressing yourself. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that people love to be heard. And I'm trying to think of a good quote that's related to that. Give me a moment. People don't care how much you know, people care about how much you care. And when you take the time to listen and care about what they say and actually interact with them instead of talking at them, you're talking with them, that does wonders on refining your communication because, again, communication, there's different forms of it. And and of course it's important to communicate better when it comes to just finding the correct words to make people understand on what you're trying to paint a picture of. Because another thing to keep in mind is being aware of other people's perceptions. Because everybody's got a different point of view on things. And sometimes you got to speak their language to make them understand your point of view and something that's relatable that they can understand. So, what's a good example that I can give? Okay, say they're talking to someone that's a fitness enthusiast. You can speak their language by talking about the the terminologies of whatever's related to what they understand. And that's true for anyone that's in any profession or even other areas on where they live as well, because words is there's a lot to it as far as, well, it's okay if I don't express myself in the way that I wish to do, because that's part of the practice. And the whole point is, though, is that you got to, I mean, you don't got to do anything, but if you are desiring to improve your communications and the ways of expressing yourself, this is one great medium to keep yourself accountable, and it's measurable on seeing your weekly progress, and seeing how you will do better. Because in the past, now that I'm thinking about it, I am hyper aware on how I'm expressing the words that's coming out of my mouth. And the one thing that should be work on is getting rid of the ums and pregnant pauses, stumbling words, certain tics that you may not even realize that you have. Because if you speak with conviction, I say you sound more credible and people will channel your thoughts and your words better, especially in this day and age. Now that I'm actually thinking about it, I am really not worried about anyone actually watching this video, and mainly because people don't really have a good attention span like the way they used to back in the day. And that part of communication, as far as channeling your thoughts or channeling focus on the person has been degraded over the course of time naturally, thanks to technology and short attention spans of looking at a bunch of social media, YouTube shorts, Instagrams, or whatever. And now I see that this is an important way to get back into getting better with the communication of focus. And I'm intentionally pausing because sometimes you need a moment to find the words that you want to express better. Because one thing that I want to speak from my heart, the one person that I always admired, especially back in the day, about 10 years ago, when I was searching for myself and who I can admire and mimic other speakers like Elliot Hulse. To me, and I'm sure there's other people too, he is a person who I truly admire when it comes to just speaking off the cuff and just voicing his opinions and coming up with other topics that's related to what he knows from his wisdom, knowledge, and all the life experience that he shares. Because one cool thing about him is that when someone asks him a question, from what I can remember, he really doesn't know what he's going to say. He just speaks and see where it leads. And that's a really cool skill set in itself, because preparation of speech is actually another great tool to have. But now that I'm thinking about it, this is why it's important to know how to speak off the cuff and get better with just not thinking about it and just expressing your ideas out of the blue. Because the ideas, once you get better at it, it's gonna come to you. Whatever answers that's going to that's going it's just gonna appear. And this is part of a great skill that is helpful, because if you write like a formal speech, it definitely gives great structure on how to convey your message to the point and not wasting time on filling in the time to try to express yourself. Sorry, if I were sitting with the person right now and giving them some advice on how to better themselves on their speeches, I would say start small, go with 30 minutes to 2 minutes of improv speeches, get a cue card with the topic in mind, and see what your mind, heart, and soul will come up with. Because conversations and talking to people, it's like a light version of improv talking. Because when you're talking to somebody else, you don't know what you're going to say or what to say or how the interaction is going to go. It all depends. And that's why off the cuff speech and improvisation is key. That's going to be helpful, a tool to get even better with your more structured speeches. So I still got 5 more minutes on whatever it is that I still want to keep talking about. But that is my own personal challenge when it comes to, see, that's another thing I am hyper aware on. I find myself repeating the same words when it comes to. And in my experience, I'd say one of the hardest things that most people struggle with is that some people have a hard time watching or listening to themselves. And I used to be that way. And there's, I'm not sure what to say about that, but all I know is that it is humbling to see how you express yourself, because the best way to get better is to just see where your progress goes and pay attention and refining yourself. Because, yeah, that's another idea that I just came up with. Sometimes, if you want to fill in the silence, it's good to have some memorized quotes in line. Because sometimes when you run out of things to say and you have some word tracks that's in your backup, you can add to that to fill in the gap. And sometimes that can even lead to other ideas and what you want to say that's related to the topic at hand. So the main thing is the main thing. And my main thing is just getting better on communicating videos week by week. Who's going to watch this? It doesn't matter. And if they like it, cool. If not, well, that's fine as well. I am good either way. My glass is already full. And the only people that can truly understand this are the people that have the desire to improve themselves on verbal communication. And remember, especially if you're doing videos like this, the nonverbal communication is just as important, or maybe even more important, than the speech themselves. I mean, it depends how you direct or how you want to show. But since I'm keeping it simple and raw, this is like almost sitting down with somebody that I can give advice to, mainly for myself. Because the one thing that I remember is that if you like to write in a journal and you look back your past entries, it's almost as though it's not the same person that you're reading. It's almost like there's a different version of you talking to yourself. And it's interesting how ideas and progress changes when you see your past self and get better on just, well, just expressing. In any case, I still got 1 more minute. And how am I going to fill the gap with that one? See, now I'm just wasting time. just because it's just, remember, visual communication, hyper awareness, and I know I'm going to get better at this day by day. In every way, I'm getting better and better. Week by week, in every way, I'm getting better and better. Month to month, I'm getting better and better. See, that's part of the improv ideas on just channeling and sharpening the saw, as Stephen Covey says, from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But anyways, that's it for now. This is Carlos Fernando Ocon reporting in for myself, and I am out.